I feel like I'm going through a mix of deja vu here because originally for this script I wrote, one of my favourite games is Left 4 Dead. I really need to change things up after this. So yeah, by now I'm pretty sure you know I like Left 4 Dead a lot. It's a pretty good game. It's a game that I can play over and over, and I'm always open to trying out other games that are clearly inspired by it or trying to be something similar. And over the last few months we've had a good turnout. We had a new update for World War Z, Aliens Fireteam Elite came out, which was fun but unfortunately fell on death's door slightly once Back 4 Blood came out, and after playing that for a couple of months, it's starting to fight against me when I play it. Seriously, I had issues with this game when I reviewed it at launch, but whatever they did recently with the spawns in one of the updates, it's absolutely painful. Like, for a round or two it's fine, but then the game director just goes, alright, you've had enough, fuck off and go play something else. And as annoying as it is, I still can't stop playing it. I'm sorry, Back 4 Blood is fun. It is a fun game. I don't get why people hate it so much. Before someone puts a comment in telling me why my opinion is stupid, this was a segue. That's all it was. I wasn't trying to piss anybody off. It was a segue. I just wanted to say, you know what's fun? Left 4 Dead VR, because that's what we're talking about today. After the Fall is like Left 4 Dead in VR, okay? Please, I don't need another paragraph of someone telling me why Back 4 Blood sucks. Okay, enough of that for some of my friends already. I've said before that I hope to see more games get converted into VR titles, and Left 4 Dead easily sits at the top of that list. Like, just imagine you and 3 friends in VR fighting against the hordes of the undead, shooting some tanks, getting startled by witches, and then breaking something when a hunter pounces you. I would love to see Left 4 Dead in VR someday, but I have to be realistic about it. It's a game made by Valve, and going from their track record, the likeliness of that ever happening anytime soon is very slim, so I'm always open to alternatives. And that's where After the Fall comes in. So far, After the Fall is pretty much the closest game we've got to Left 4 Dead in VR, and I'm glad of it because it's actually rather fun. After the Fall is a 4-player co-op game set in a frozen apocalypse where you go through levels and clear out the undead. It sounds like a simple premise, and well, that's because it is. After the Fall doesn't really try to lure you in with some overly complex storyline or threat, it's just, you're here, here's a gun, go shoot things. At most, the story is, you're a recently rescued survivor who's now enlisted to join the role of Harvest Runner, so your job is to go into the frozen wasteland in a squad of 4 and clear out the undead, or as they're called in this game, the Snowbreed. And while you're out there, when you kill them, you extract an orange substance called Harvest. Harvest is used as the in-game currency in this game, and is basically just there so you can buy equipment and levels and also craft and upgrade your arsenal. The game consists of 2 modes, being both a co-op campaign mode and a PvP mode for those who are interested. Or I guess 3 modes if you count the arcade machines in the hub world. To get it out of the way, I really don't care for the PvP mode. It's just a standard 4v4 team deathmatch mode. Both teams are humans and you shoot one another. It's nothing special. I played a round of it during the previous playtest and it was okay. In retrospect, I kinda wish I'd recorded it because in the full game I wasn't actually able to find a match. But I was playing the game early, so don't take my word for it. But I wasn't going to play it much anyway. I already have Pavlov installed, so I don't really need anything else to keep me busy. The main reason I was interested in After the Fall was because of the co-op mode Harvest Run. Harvest Run consists of you and 3 other players, either friends, public players or AI, making their way from point A to point B while clearing out the undead, and scavenging for harvest and supplies. While you won't be scavenging for items similar to games like Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, throughout each level you're able to find things like new weapons, grenades, healing items and also floppy disks. These floppy disks are the primary reason you'll keep coming back to play more of these levels, as these disks contain schematics that will unlock new upgrades for your weapons, things like better grips, barrels and magazines. For the weapons at your disposal, while there's not many, there's a couple of pistols, some assault rifles, a shotgun and an SMG, there's also a mini rocket launcher that is attached to your hand which you unlock halfway through the game, which, I'll be honest, I forgot to use half the time. Yeah, it was just kind of given to you at one point and the game never really tries to push the importance of it. It's the equivalent of having another pipe bomb in your inventory, which in a sense is a good idea because then you have an extra inventory slot for discs, but overall, I never really used it that much. I did however find myself using the pistols I'd find on the map more than my own equipment, until I got the SMG that is, because that is by far the best weapon in the game. Another feature I quite like as well is if you drop a gun in the map, or if you're playing on the nightmare difficulty, you actually lose the equipment. It doesn't just go back to the armory back in the hub world. You have to keep scavenging, which honestly is a good way to approach it, because my one concern originally was late game when you have so much harvest it wouldn't become important anymore, but if you're playing Nightmare and you want to beat all the levels on the hardest difficulty, you're going to need to keep harvest spare. When compared to their previous game, Arizona Sunshine, After the Fall, in the sense of gameplay, feels like a nice improvement. Don't take that the wrong way though. Arizona Sunshine is still one of my favourite VR titles to recommend to newcomers to the platform, and in some ways it still is a good way to start. It's a fun, basic experience that can be shared with a friend, and is a nice, gentle way to introduce someone to the world of VR who hasn't used it much. But I'd definitely be lying if I said it didn't feel a little bit dated. It's not bad, but when I play it, it definitely feels rough. The movement can feel a bit janky at times, and you can collide with a lot of stuff when using locomotion, and the guns feel very lacking. There's very little recoil, and the reload is far from immersive, but at the time it worked and it was still impressive. Going back to After the Fall, however, the guns feel like they have weight to them, the reloading is more efficient and satisfying, and one of my favourite features about this game is you have the choice between your preference in reloading. So you could go back to how it was in Arizona Sunshine and make it a bit quicker for yourself, but if you want that more modern and realistic feeling to it, you'll actually get rewarded for doing so, which is a better option when you're using the shotgun anyway. Can I just say, by the way, the composer who worked on After the Fall did a great job with the music in this game. It really does help capture that winter apocalypse vibe quite well, and when mixed into the Horde events, it just makes that situation a little bit more tense.
They're here.
So, normally this is where I would segue into something about what I don't like about the game, but I'm surprised to say that nothing really comes to mind. At a stretch, one of the things I'm not really a fan of is the lack of no retries between safe rooms, and another thing I'm not entirely keen on is joining a server full of people when I enter the hub world. Yeah, at a stretch, it just works like Destiny 2, they're just there in the background, you don't have to interact with them. But I kind of wish in this kind of game I could just go straight into it with a little interactive menu and not have to walk around this hub world to do stuff. Besides that though, After the Fall is just simple fun. To sum it up, After the Fall is a simple Left 4 Dead-like shooter, and while it's nothing extraordinary, it's a lot of fun, and primarily that's what I wanted from it. I just wanted something that felt like Left 4 Dead but in VR, and this game hits that target perfectly. I love this genre of game in general, but experiencing it in VR is quite refreshing. And for the record, Valve, if you want to make Left 4 Dead VR, I'm fully on board. The game is certainly small, and the game's campaigns can be beaten within 5 hours. There's only about 5 levels at the moment, but we know that the first post-launch update planned for this game is going to be free, so I'm glad we have something to look forward to. If it's anything like the updates to Arizona Sunshine, then I think this game has a good potential. Now, I know this video might be a little bit short, and that's for a couple of reasons. Firstly, I wasn't planning to review this in the end because I'm kind of getting a bit tired of reviewing modern games, and also I've spoken about Left 4 Dead a lot. There's only so many ways I can write the intro to these videos, so if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go play something different for a bit.
What about the Anacrusis?
Oh yeah, the Anacrusis. I guess I got one more script in me.